Hi there, Scorpios. It's me, Priscilla B, and welcome to your energetic upgrade spiritual mastery tarot reading. And I'm going to be doing a chakra energetic tarot spread for you. It's like a chakra cleanse of the chakras. Let's go. So, that being said, I am using my Darkwood Tarot book for the energetic chakra spread. I am using my Meditations on the Tarot book, okay, for interpretations on the tarot. I'm only using Major Arcana, okay, because the person who wrote this book only used the Major Arcana, and I just thought it would be really interesting if we applied that concept and construction to this reading. And also, I really like this Akasha Oracle deck, Unlock Wisdom from Previous Lives, and I want to draw a Oracle card for you. All right, so the Oracle card I'm going to draw for you is this one right here, Scorpio. Resilience. And it says everlasting flower and the number 37, and you have a woman's face and it has all these like cracks in it, okay? And I feel like this is like how you probably feel, okay? You feel like there's all these like pieces to you, there's all these cracks to you, and I feel like the everlasting flower is just showing that like even in these very terrible, painful moments in your life, the flower still is growing. You are still growing. You are still transforming. And you have this incredible resilience to everything that life throws your way. And it's really beautiful, honestly. It's painful. There is pain there. And I feel like the beauty is what grows out of the pain. I think that I am going to tell you the definition of resilience in case you've never heard that word before. And let's see here. It's a very powerful word. Can't even speak. Okay. So, spiritual meaning of resilience is the ability to maintain a positive spirit, sense of purpose, and inner strength even in the face of adversity, drawing on beliefs, values, and a connection to something greater than oneself. It is not limited to religious contexts. Spirituality can be personal, cultural, or philosophical, and can include gratitude, service, music, mindfulness, and community connection. Okay, and the core spiritual dimensions for resilience are faith and trust. Many traditions emphasize trusting in a higher power or universal principles, which provide stability and hope during hardships. Meaning and purpose. Spiritual resilience often comes from a deep sense of purpose, whether rooted in religious teachings, personal values, or visions for vision for life's direction. Connection. Feeling part of a larger whole, to community, nature, or the divine can sustain hope and motivation. Emotional grounding. Spiritual practices like prayer, meditation, or gratitude help regulate emotions and foster inner peace. And then in the Bible, it says in Christian thought, spiritual resilience is seen as enduring trials with faith, developing perseverance, and maintaining hope. Passages like James, Psalm 1, verse 2 through 4, and Romans, Psalm 5, verse 3 through 4, highlight how suffering can refine character and deepen trust in God. Figures such as Job and Paul exemplify steadfastness and amid adversity. Practical spiritual resilience practices, gratitude, focusing on what is good, shifts attention from problems to strengths. Mindfulness and meditation, grounding the mind, helps manage stress and stay present. Service to community, engaging in acts of kindness and connection, fosters belonging. Scripture or spiritual readings, reflecting on guiding principles, can inspire courage and clarity. Letting go, releasing attachment to outcomes, can reduce emotional burdens. Why it matters. Spiritual resilience integrates emotional, psychological, and spiritual well-being, enabling people to bounce back, adapt, and move forward with renewed strength. It transforms adversity into opportunities for growth, deeper self-understanding, and a stronger sense of identity. In essence, the spiritual meaning of resilience is the inner fortitude and purpose that allow you to face life's storms with hope, connection, and peace. And that's why we're here. All right? So taking a look here at the energetic spread, chakra spread, okay, this spread should be done as a meditation and visualization along with a card reading. Shuffle and place 7 cards before you face down. Proceed to interpret each card. As you turn each card, imagine that chakra opening and spinning in your body while simultaneously focusing on the card's message. So we have 1, root base of spine, and we have your security. So let's take a look at your security. The Wheel of Fortune. Literally the compass to give you direction of where you need to go. The compass, right? Your birth chart, containing all of these symbols and signs and figuring out what they all mean. All right, so let's find out what this Wheel of Fortune means for you, Scorpio. Scorpio. Okay, so Wheel of Fortune, let's go. So let's look at the Meditations on Tarot definition of the Wheel of Fortune. Let's find out. 233. So we're gonna look here. All right, so 355 was it? I can't remember. Okay. 233. Okay, I'm way off here. Okay, 233. So So the Wheel of Fortune. Dear unknown friend, we have before us a wheel which rotates and 3 figures in animal form, of which 2, the monkey and the dog. Okay, so he's using the Tarot of Marseille, which is like the original. This is like the OG of the tarot. Okay. Turn with the wheel. With List the Third, the Sphinx is beyond the movement of the wheel. He is seated on a platform above the wheel. The monkey descends in order to rise again. The dog rises in order to descend again. First one and then the other pass before the Sphinx. Simple and natural questions which arise spontaneously when one looks at the card are: why do the monkey and the dog turn with the wheel? Why is the Sphinx there? How many times will the monkey and the dog pass before the Sphinx? And why are there these meetings with the Sphinx? Once having posed these simple questions, we find ourselves already at the heart of the 10th arcanum, plunged into the very sphere of notions and ideas which is called to awaken. In fact, the wheel alone, without its 2 passengers and without the Sphinx seated above it, evokes only the idea of a circle, or at most that of a circular movement. The wheel with the 2 animals, the one rising and the other descending, without the Sphinx above it, evokes the idea of a vain and absurd game. But the wheel turning with its 2 passengers and the Sphinx dominating the whole makes the onlooker ask himself if this is not an arcana, a key that one has to know in order to be able to orient oneself. In this case, in the domain of problems and the phenomena relating to the circular movement of living beings, it is especially the Sphinx above the wheel which gives us an intellectual shock and which impels us to seek out the arcanum of this card. Now there are 2 categories of ideas concerning the genetic relationship and the general genesis of the 4 kingdoms of nature: the mineral realm, the plant realm, the animal realm, and the human realm, which have their root in the intellectual life of humanity. The one is based on the idea of the fall, degeneration, and descent from above below, according to the class of ideas. It is not the monkey who is the ancestor of man. Okay, here we go. Talking about evolution and Darwinism. But rather, on the contrary, it is a man who is the ancestor of the monkey, which latter is a degenerate and degraded descendant. And three kings of nature below the human kingdom are, according to this set of ideas, the projected residue or extortionation of the comprehensive being of a primordial man, or Adam, who is the original prototype and synthesis of all the entities comprising the four kingdoms of nature. The other class of ideas comprises the idea of evolution, progress, transformation from above, below, above. According to this category of ideas, it is the most primitive entity form from the point of view of consciousness, as well as biological structure, which is the origin of all beings in the four kingdoms of nature, and which is their common ancestor. Okay. So interesting. So it's almost as if the author is describing, it says like right here. So I'll just redo this part here. It says, it seems that the argument against evolution is pure metaphysical brocade, artfully draped so as to obscure the cogent evidence of science. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that's the conclusion here. It's like you are like upgrading yourself, right? You are constantly like doing this like inner spiritual work to level up and to obtain spiritual mastery. In order to do that, you need to like align yourself with nature, almost like that sort of like primordial part of yourself. Okay. This doesn't mean like lose sight of structure and you know mm, yeah, so it's pretty much like um you can't stop evolution. You can't stop the natural progress of nature and life. So you can build the structures, um, in your life. And again, it's like, are these structures constraining you? Are they keeping you from being your natural self? Or are they being constructed so that you can be your natural self? There's a distinction here. And I feel like in order for you to evolve and to evolutionize your life, into be a more evolved being, you have to build constructs and systems in place. That's why the Wheel of Fortune is really important, because it's really like the blueprint, it's the compass, it's, take take whatever like metaphor you prefer, or like literal description you prefer, but it's like if the universe handed you this blueprint or this compass, this always reminds me of a compass. But it's like your birth chart, okay? It's decoding it so that you can evolve, because it's always pointing in a direction. Um, this brings me back to like astrology though, and I wish I had an astrology book. I guess I'm gonna have to put that on my like list to read and buy. So, but yeah, it's again though, it's like you don't have to like know everything about astrology. You just have to know like the fundamentals of what your nature is. If you can understand your nature, then you can understand others' natures, and you can start to nurture and grow yourself and evolve. Um, because Darwinism really is, I look at it as a perfect example of like survival of the fittest. Okay, when you really want to like boil it down, it's survival of the fittest. If you don't evolve and you don't make certain like attempts to grow yourself and to reach higher state of consciousness and being, and you will always stay in the same place. You will always stay stagnant. And it's kind of brutal. Scorpio, I don't think you're like this at all. I don't think you stay very stagnant for very long. But I just feel like you constantly grow, you constantly evolve. This is what keeps you alive. Okay? So I'm not going to get into like all that. I'm going to move on to this is really just asking you, like, what is your nature and how do you evolve that into even like how do you tap into that to a place where you can like just continuously grow, like, and evolve. That's how you stay alive. So, and that's how nature continues to grow and thrive. Okay, so sacral, your sexuality, we have death, number 13. We have your card, Scorpio. Okay, so you're not afraid of death. Okay, I feel like you have a great fondness for the study and research of death and transformation and what that symbolizes to you. Okay, like if this guy came like riding in on his white horse, you'd be like, hey bro, what's up? Like, you know what I'm saying? Whereas like other people would be like, oh my god, because they fear, and this is nothing against them because, you know, they're their own special little unit. Okay, there's nothing against them, but like you yourself, you have no fear of yourself. You have no fear of, like, death is just a part of nature, as is life. So that cycle of life, this is a huge part of it, Scorpio. You are a huge part of your own life. Who knew? Okay, so sacral, your sexuality. Okay, so let's take a look at death, and then I'm going to read you the shadow definitions of these cards. So, death. 341. 341. And the woman said to the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but God said, you shall not eat of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. But the serpent said to the woman, you will not die, for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be as gods, knowing good and evil. O dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Okay, so I don't know about you. I feel like that can be interpreted in so many different ways, and it has been. Yeah. So, let's see. Dear unknown friend, have you ever been struck by the contrary statements of concerning death made by God and the serpent in the narrative in Genesis on the fall? Oh, yes, actually, I think I have. Okay. Because God says there, you shall not eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, for on the day when you eat from it, you will die. And the serpent says, you will not die. Here, God is categorical. The serpent is just as much so. Did the serpent quite simply lie, or is it a matter of fundamental error on the part of the serpent? Or, again, did he state a truth from the range of truths for God? In other words, are there two immortalities and two different deaths, one from the point of view of God and the other from the point of view of the serpent? The answer is yes. There are two different types of death. Okay, we have literal death, where you're dead, your body is gone, your soul has gone to wherever your soul is going to go, right? Scorpio, in your case, you know, you're like going to like the most beautiful, amazing, like paradise ever. And then there's the other kind of death, and this is the energetic upgrade. This is the spiritual mastery that I'm talking about. This is, you go through a transformation in your life, you go through a traumatic experience, for example, and then what happens after that traumatic experience? You've evolved, and then you pretty much like meet your higher self, and you are now reflecting that energy out into the universe, and it's reflecting it back to you. So now you are no longer stuck in the trauma cycle or the trauma bond. Now you are into a much more evolved, elevated place, leveled up, and you're meeting like higher conscious beings. Like you are ascending, you have ascended. You're with people who understand your intellectual self. They understand your nature, for example. It's almost like you found your tribe, like your soul family. Um, so, yeah. Now I invite you, dear unknown friend, to set to work with a view on to finding an answer to this question. Will this bring you your attention to fruits of the work that I have made towards the same end? For the answer to the question is the archetype of the 13th card of Tarot Death, which represents a skeleton who reaps only what pushes up from the black soil and rises above it, hands, heads. Our empirical experience of death is the disappearance from the physical plane of living beings. Such is the fact of our experience from without that we have by means of our five senses. But the disappearance as such is not confined to the domain of outward experience of the senses. It is experienced also in the domain of inner experience, and that of consciousness. There are images and representations disappear just as living beings do. So for the experience of the senses, this is what we call forgetting. And this forgetting extends each night to the totality of our memory, will, and understanding of a kind such that we forget ourselves entirely. This is what we call sleep. For our whole experience, outer and inner forgetting, sleep, and death are three manifestations of the same thing, namely the thing which affects disappearance. It is said that sleep is the younger brother of death. It is necessary to add forgetting is the brother of sleep. Forgetting, sleep, and death are three manifestations, differing in degree of a sole principle or force which affects the disappearance of intellectual, psychic, and physical phenomena. Forgetting is to sleep as sleep is to death. Or again, forgetting is to memory as sleep is to consciousness, and sleep is to consciousness as death is to life. One forgets, one goes to sleep, and one dies. One remembers, one awakes, and one is born. Remembering is to forgetting, as awakening is to falling asleep, and awakening is sleep, as birth is to death. When nature forgets us, when we die, when we forget ourselves, then we fall asleep, and when we lose active interest in something, then we forget. Nevertheless, it must not be forgotten that the respective domains of forgetting, sleep, and death are most vast and more profound than intellectual forgetting, organic sleep, and clinical death. Apart from intellectual forgetting, there is also forgetting in the domain of the soul, psychic forgetting, and a forgetting in the domain of the will, just as there is memory of the domain of the soul and memory in the domain of the will, beyond intellectual memory. Thus, for example, one can retain a clear and precise intellectual memory of a friend from the past, but at the same time have completely forgotten him physically. One recalls, but without the living friendship of former times. This is so true. Like, I can honestly say that the author got this. For sure. For sure. Okay? Like, even if you don't believe in God, if you believe in, like, something else, like, even if you just call it, like, source or spirit or higher consciousness, like, however you define this, like, energetic body of energy that's, like, super powerful, and then you just name it and label it. Obviously, you know, he defines it as God. Okay. This is a really good definition. Really good. Similarly, one can remember a person intellectually and physically with vivid feeling, but at the same time have forgotten him in the domain of the will. One remembers him with tenderness, perhaps, but one does nothing for him. Beyond organic sleep, when one is in bed and oblivious of everything, including oneself, there is psychic sleep and a sleep of the will. During the 16th or 18th hours that we are in the waking state, there are layers of our psychic being which are asleep. During the waking state, one is asleep to many things, facts, peoples, ideas, God. And if the Buddha is considered and ventured as fully awake to the facts of human life, such as sickness, old age, and death, it is because those who are not Buddhas know that they are asleep with regard to these facts, not intellectually but physically, and in their will they know it and do not know it at the same time, for one knows truly when one understands what one knows. when one feels, one has understood, and one has put into practice what one has understood and felt. Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna circle that. This is again, Scorpio, your resilience here, like her eyes are closed. Okay. You don't need to like be walking around all day, like knowing everything and anything, right? You have these times and these moments of like inner reflection and psychic activity. When you waken, that is the time where it becomes conscious. That is the time where it becomes like the friendship. Like you can remember somebody. So, for example, one can retain a clear and precise intellectual memory of a friend from the past, but at the same time have completely forgotten him physically. Yeah, like that, and that friend could be you, Scorpio. It could, or it could be someone like physical that you've known too. There's like these periods of transformation in your life where um, you remember the intellectual part. Like, for example, we're going to categorize it with like, you remember their energy, you remember their feeling, like the feelings that you had around them, and then but you don't remember them like physically. You're like, okay, well, I haven't seen this person in like so long, so I don't know if they're like physically alive or not. And then one day you find out they are very much alive physically. And all of a sudden you're like, their energy towards you has only like exemplified. This is what it feels like on a psychic level of dreams and dream consciousness. Um, you can go to sleep and have a very vivid dream and then suddenly wake and only remember bits and pieces of it, bits and pieces of yourself that you are putting back together, like an old friend that you remember feeling, and now you're putting them together again, like piece by piece. I'm feeling like the song Piece by Piece, or like a lyric of some song. I don't know what I'm talking about, so just ignore me. Okay, so yeah, let's take a look here at the Wheel of Fortune and Death. All right, so this is where your resilience comes from. This is where your power comes from. Look at this. Your next card is the Power card, solar plexus. We have the Hanged Man. Could this be your friend? Could your friend be the Hanged Man? Like, maybe. Also, death too. I feel like you're maybe like becoming like best friends with yourself again, and maybe it is taking the form of a physical person, um, and a physical connection. However, it is important to still remember who you are as well. Like, oh my God, I feel like the more you remember about yourself from your past, the stronger your connections, like, and the psychic activity and everything, like, becomes. That's so interesting. Okay, so solar plexus and your power, the Hangman. All right, so Scorpio. Um, let's take a look here at the Wheel of Fortune, Death, and the Hangman. Said that already. Death. Okay. So we have terminus, the end of a way of being, clearing the path, the ascent to higher understanding, the beginning of true integration, a new beginning with a deeper understanding unfolds. Let go. Whew, righty. Yeah, this is a good idea. It is a good idea to let go here because, you don't want to slip into the shadow part of this death energy, and that is forcing your hand, using aggressive power to deal with a situation, pushing people around as in a dictatorship or abusive relationship, the need to pull things apart, destruction for destruction's sake, pleasure and upheaval. That doesn't sound like you, Scorpio. Like, it's interesting because, like, historically, death occurs during initiation into a magical or secret society. The old self drops away and the new soul emerges. Death inhabits Shavasana, the final resting pose of yoga, where the practitioner is transformed by her practice. Death inhabits the shadows, forests, and thickets of Gothic literature, film, and horror. How do we integrate death's lessons? How can death teach us how to live? Death teaches us all things change constantly from the molecular level to the mundane life. Death is ongoing, like the weather. Death is the energy allowing emotions to appear, be felt, and slip away, only to be replaced by new ones. Western cultures traditionally reflect the human spirit either rising to heaven or descending into hell after death. This is a dualistic version of the cosmos, ignoring a complexity which holds all options simultaneously. The dark wood teaches us to befriend the darkness, look death in the eyes, and make peace with all aspects of human existence. Death is the impermanence of the world. It's part of nature. You can't erase it. You can't eradicate it. It is. And I love how it talks about Shavasana and yoga, because that's what the chakra cleanse is like all about. It's aligning your chakras energetically. And death fell into your sexual energy. Okay. So yeah, Shavasana. Okay, I don't like Shavasana. Yeah, this is the corpse pose. Is a yoga posture designed for deep relaxation, where the body lies still like a corpse to calm the mind and restore energy. Shava meaning corpse, and asana meaning posture or seat. It is also known as asana, derived from mrta, meaning death, emphasizing the pose's symbolic connection to stillness and surrender. Traditionally, it is practiced at the end of a yoga session to allow the body and mind to absorb the benefits of preceding asanas. Yeah, it's more than just lying down, it's a conscious practice of stillness. The pose helps release physical tension, slow the breath, and calm the nervous system, promoting mental clarity and emotional balance. It is considered a restorative posture that integrates the effects of yoga practice, reduces stress, and restores energy. In advanced practices like yoga, nidra, shavasana can be held for longer periods to deeper relaxation and meditation. Um, so you lie flat on your. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So basically, you like lie flat on your back with legs slightly apart and arms relaxed alongside the body, palms facing up. Close your eyes, breathe naturally and consciously. Release tension from each part of the body, from toes to head. The goal is to remain aware yet completely relaxed, allowing the body to rest while the mind stays present. Typically, the pose is held for 5 to 20 minutes. Yeah, letting go of the worldly attachments and ego, offering metaphorical experience of death to the self. The surrender fosters inner peace, grounding in a sense of renewal, connecting the practitioner with a state of calm awareness and balance. It is considered essential in almost every yoga tradition as the final posture to integrate physical, mental, and spiritual beliefs. The Hanged Man. Okay, so let's take a look here at the Hanged Man. This is your solar plexus. This is your power. And this is before death, actually. A moment's pause and stillness. A sacrifice is made for the greater good of all involved. The world seen through a new set of eyes. Revelations beheld. Keep looking. Excitement is afoot. Deep mystical tendencies. Contemplation. Seeing the situation at hand from an entirely new point of view. Cultivating depth in the present moment. Yeah, this is really good. This is important because this is you separating from like ego and shadow, like hiding from the world, staying stuck out of fear, that type of thing, wanting others to do the work for you, right? You're not like that, Scorpio, at all. And this is what that kind of like feeling of like, if you're just still enough, if you're just relaxed enough, like that is when the deepest moments happen, that is when you connect the most to self, to yourself. And that is bringing you like that metaphorical experience of death to the self, of just letting go completely and just surrendering, you know? It's beautiful, okay? I love it. I love it for you, Scorpios. Okay, so Wheel of Fortune 10. Okay. Life's ups and downs, the rhythm and flow of existence, expansion and movement. The Wheel of Fortune turns in your favor, the ability to ride with challenges and blessings, accepting help from others. Okay? Yeah. So basically, like, the shadow message is like, it doesn't want you to like cling to magical fairy tale ending where life will be perfect when and if only. It's like, no, it is or it isn't. And I feel like for you, Scorpio, you are very much like in the present, just focusing and channeling your energy on staying in this beautiful, like, calm, energetic alignment with yourself. Okay? This unshakable quality is a response from the truth of who you are. Okay? Just the wisdom of silence is deafening. The hermit is the archetype of the sage. Yeah, there doesn't need to be like all this talk, all this communication. It just is. There's something here that's just in alignment. There's something that just exists solely because you exist. Okay? So let's take a look here. I'm getting like destiny vibes from this reading. Okay. Heart, your empathy. Ooh, okay, that's a good one. That is a good one. Okay, so let's see. We have strength. Okay, this is your heart. This is your empathy here. Okay, so the strength card. Okay, so strength is the archetype of the warrior. Universal power lies within you. The shadow which returns to the earth and finds herself inside a stone-walled garden. She hears the hissing of a snake and the slow beating of a heartbeat drum. The garden protects a woman who hypnotizes a snake as a rose blossoms above her head in a stone wall. Strength simmers with constant power to illuminate everything. It is casualty itself. Strength is the inner reserves of power wielded in profound gestures. It is intellectual, physical, and emotional fortitude. It is exuding tenacity of character, personal responsibility, and inner confidence no matter the external circumstance. A yogi sits in Padmasana position and gazes at the nature of her inner strength as exemplified by the Kundalini snake appearing before her. Yoga is the alignment and movement of the physical body in the material world. Yoga poses are like tarot archetypes. They kindle inner and outer strength and spiritual prowess. Strength applies to how we use our deep inner reserves of power. Each of us is a font of energy. Do we give it away to others? Do we save enough for ourselves? This is where resilience plays a big part here. Can we nurture and stoke the strength of fire within us? Can we transform and transcend who we are and what we are capable of? True strength engages our ability to be flexible in the face of events and people's needs, wants, and moods. It gives us the power to react out of who we are rather than reacting out of the given situation. Strength determines how we approach each day, challenge, and blessing. The yogini's upper chakras, the energetic centers of the body, are awakened, active, and pulsating with power. Her crown chakra, located above her head, is the energetic point connecting her to the universe at large. It is portrayed as a flower budding through a concrete stone wall. Softness pushes through a seemingly impenetrable stone barrier. Her third eye chakra, located between the brows, sparkles with bindi jewelry, marking the strength of her intuition. Her throat chakra, place of strong communication, is marked with a jewel. A gem rests upon her heart chakra, where she allows her broken heart to mend, thus becoming even more pliable. The solar plexus, located on the belly, is marked with her moon belt. It glows with power and self-esteem. The snake is her own creation. Her radiant energy will do her bidding exactly as she directs it. Gentle control, inner wells of power, stable body, sound mind, fortitude, and unwavering sense of self, knowing when to apply pressure and when to release it, character and resiliency, effortless action, recognizing one's power, your energetic birthright, stoking your inner fire, and transforming your reality. Okay? You've done this. You are doing this. You continue to do this. This is what the energetic upgrade is all about. Shadow side to this, important. Holding tightly to a person, place, or thing, addicted to habits that control your life, using strength over adversity to find the ego and create drama, forcing others to do things they do not want to do, and bending another's will. Okay? You're not like that, Scorpio. And I feel like this energetic upgrade and alignment, chakra alignment, that's exactly what you need to make sure that like shadow doesn't overtake the strong bonds of energy and connection that you're making here within yourself. Okay? So, yeah. Okay. Let's take a look here at let's take a look here. Okay, this is your empathy in your heart. Yeah, your heart is doing like good, like doing good. Like you are showing people that you're not trying to control them. They are in control of their own lives, and you don't need to over like burden yourself with an energy where you feel like you need to like take care of everyone or everything at every time. Like if someone needs you, they know where to find you. Let's just put it that way, Scorpio. Okay. So throat, your speech. Okay. So we have speech here, and we have the Fool card. Okay. So let's take a look here at the Fool card. This is where it gets interesting because the person who wrote Meditations on Tarot actually did not use the number 0 for the Fool. They made 22. They added the number 22. And they put the Fool as the last card. So we're going to take a look at that, okay, because I really want to understand why that happened. I guess they just don't, like, they don't want to recognize numerology-wise, like, numerically, they want to recognize, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess something like that. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to find out. Throat and speech, okay. The Fool is the archetype of the child. Each step brings you closer to your destiny. The Shadow Witch takes her first step into the dark wood. A leap of faith is required. The timid say it is foolish to enter darkness, sands, light map, or direction, yet the Fool carries on with equal parts faith and ignorance. She tosses all preconceived judgments aside. The Fool acts in her own best interests. The Fool is a whole and complete agent of herself. She operates outside societal norms. She is not affected by the opinions, judgments, or advice of others. She is blessedly unaware of irrelevant prying eyes and speculation. Her wholeness is sublime. Each step unravels her perfection. The Fool begins her journey. The end is the beginning. The beginning is the end. Her head tilts toward the sky, reflecting optimism and pleasure in the present moment. Her tattered clothing reflects an individual operating outside the realm of polite society. She travels free from convention and obligation. Her bag contains past lives, karma, and experience. The white rose in her hand is purity and love. The black cat reflects feline magic. The fox is cleverness, the spider is the master storyteller, and the creeping lizard is passion and fire. The card is our human connection to the animal and spirit world. The jagged cliff generates with each step. The Fool walks in safety. A leap of faith, acting impulsively, foolishness, echoing freedom, acting in self-interest, a grand adventure, optimism, youth, a journey only you can take. The road is yours alone, acting impulsively, complete trust. Innocence, the beginning of a new cycle. A door opens, the adventure begins. The shadow part is purposefully acting childish, avoiding reality because you'd rather not face the truth, feigning ignorance to get out of a sticky situation, playing dumb on purpose, running away rather than facing responsibility. Okay, Scorpio, I don't think you're running away from anything. I feel like there might be something on your mind, okay, energetically. I also feel like for you, it's like you, um, I want to say you're kind of like your speech, yeah. I want to say like you're not afraid to speak your mind or speak something out into existence. But I also feel like you're waiting for something to like a sign that maybe like everything's gonna work out, everything's gonna be okay. Um, yeah. Let me see here what the Fool card is with meditations on tarot. The Fool. 589. Okay. Dear unknown friend, I owe you in the first place an explanation of the fact of having changed apparently arbitrarily the order of the cards of the major arcana of the tarot. By making the acronym the Fool follow the 20th acronym, the Judgment. The acronym the Fool does not bear any number and therefore corresponds to 0. With listed card of the acronym the World, there's the number 21 in the Marseille Tarot pack. Thus, here is the reason not for changing the number of the card, but rather for why we have made the meditation on the arcana of the Fool follow that on the 20th arcanym, the Judgment, and before the meditation on the 21st arcanym, the World. The principal reason is that the meditation on the arcanym, the Fool, cannot conclude the series of meditations on the major arcana of the tarot, which series is a school of spiritual training, an organic system of spiritual exercises for the meditation on the arcanym. The Fool, as a spiritual exercise, is not of a nature to summarize the whole preceding series, a 21 meditation on the tarot, to play the role of last point of view of the experience that the symbolism of the tarot renders possible. There are still other reasons. One of them is indicated by Paul Marteau in his book, Le Tarot de Marseille, where he says this card is not specified by any number, for it would be necessary to put 0 and 22. Okay, so basically, like, there's an evolution of the cards throughout the meditation. So it actually makes more sense from this author's perspective that the Fool be applied later on in the journey of meditation. Okay. Yeah, and then he pretty much like goes on to explain like these initiations, these ceremonial okay, the initiations I passed through my first school and which I have long since left behind me to attain to the only initiation which is truly after my own heart. I can assure you I have received by the inward way truths and joys 1,000 times higher than those I have received from without. There is no initiation but that of God only in his eternal word within us. Yeah, so the author was like he is a philosopher, and then he believed he didn't really have like a specific religion, I guess, that he like identified with, and then he chose Catholicism. So I feel like he was on a journey, he was on a quest to find what he believed in, and then I guess he found it. And it's like you always have to like you're always going to be searching for answers. You're always going to be searching for truth. I think he found like the most like reflection or like an echo of himself through Catholicism, and that's where he most identifies with that structure and that system of beliefs. Yeah, it's like and he's basically saying like to each his own. Like we don't all have to follow a specific religion or philosophy or spiritual practice. We can all just be in existence. We can all just be fools in existence. foolishly following our own, like, our own true north, our own heart's desires, and we can all just have that commonality. So that's good. That's a good place to, with energy, with the chakras, that's a good place to have when it comes to speech. It's like we can all share our truth. We can all speak our truth into existence. And when we are listening, we can hear, and we're open to hearing everyone's journeys, every fool's journey, every one of us. It's like that is the commonality between us. That is the similarity between us. Um, yeah. So, third eye, your intuition, we have the Justice card. And for your crown, your highest self, we have the Hermit. Okay? Yeah. All right. All right. So, your third eye, your intuition is Justice. So, let's take a look at the Justice card. Justice is the archetype of the law. What you do to others, you do to yourself. Okay, Scorpio? The Shadow Witch set the Wheel of Fortune spinning in the beginning of this reading. We got the Wheel of Fortune, and it was set spinning in motion. It moves through the wood with crystal clear intention. The Hermit has explained karma to the witch. This is your last and final card. It's the Hermit. And you're already getting like a sneak preview of like what that is, and that is about the karma, your highest self, your crown chakra here. Okay, the karma that you deserve is infused in the magic of responsibility, that which keeps universal order. What we put out in the world is what comes back to us. This is how each of us determines our fate and sets the course for our destiny. The Shadow Witch was told to find justice, and she recognizes the scales of balance. Justice traditionally reflects the glue of law and order, with social, moral, ethical, and safety codes. Justice takes on a deeper meaning inside the dark wood. It is the moment of personal truth. The work and effort you put into a project or situation is what is returned to you. Justice allows no shortcuts, lies, or deceptions. She holds the sword of truth. It will see the heart of the matter and the tenor of all souls. Two kneeling maidens are blindfolded. They can remove their blindfolds once they claim their role and responsibility for their actions, thoughts, and choices, bringing them to justice's feet. Those who integrate justice's lessons will act with integrity and become free. We show up for ourselves, our desires, and for other people. The universe responds by greeting us with new possibilities and hidden delights. Work and effort, karma. The witch's rule of 3. The energy you put out returns to you 3 times over. Taking responsibility, doing the right thing, even if it is tough, scary choice, showing up when you would rather avoid the situation, doing right by yourself, and facing the truth, owning up. Okay, the thing to check for is the shadow, considering yourself above people, places, and things, using your story to become a martyr, judging yourself harshly and shaming others to feel better about yourself, speaking ill of others and spreading malicious gossip, pleasure, and humiliation. So none of that shadow stuff is like, you're not doing that to people. Okay, Scorpio, you're not, that's not who you are. Like, that's not your personality. You really try your best to like, care for other people, but you're not like doing it in like a martyry way. Like, you're not like, oh, like, I'm willing to like take all the pain for everybody. No. Like, that's why the balance is there. It's like sometimes you need your own happiness, and you, as other people need happiness, but you need your happiness too. Okay. um it's a balance. It really is a balance. 9, the Hermit. This is your crown, your highest self. I'm wearing my shout out to Pluto Bean. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's a tarot reader, and I have one of his like shirts, like tank tops, and it says "Crown the Void" tank top. I'll show you guys real quick. Crown the Void. This is it, Pluto Bean. So yeah, he's one of my favorite readers. So number 9. He's probably never gonna see this, but whatever. Having a moment, having a fangirl moment, okay? Fangirling. 9, the Hermit. Okay, so let's take a look here at the number 9, the Hermit. Okay, so the Hermit already brought you the message of karma. It's like on your side now, Scorpio, because you've already gone through the cycle. You've already spun the wheel. You've already gone in the direction you were needed to go in. Now that you're going in the direction, now that you're working on yourself, you're being rewarded. The Hermit is the archetype of the sage. The wisdom of silence is deafening. Yeah, like it's like you don't need everyone knowing your business. Like you don't need to be telling everyone what's going on with you. You just need to be yourself. Okay? Um this is the most highest form of self and consciousness is when we trust our intuition and when we align ourselves with our purpose and where we're meant to go, we go in that direction. The shadow witch moves onward and sees a light shining in the darkness through the trees. The hermit holds a lantern in the mouth of a cave. The cave walls contain scribbling signs and symbols. The hermit invites the shadow witch inside her cave. The hermit sequesters herself in order to hear the divine whispers of the universe. Recorded knowledge provides groundwork, but only each individual can experience a unique relationship with the unseen. This is why hermits, historic masters, and soul seekers sequester themselves into seclusion and vows of silence. It is the profound fecundity of silence and darkness, where one becomes an active observer responding to the living universe. Away from noise, sound, and distraction, the innermost tremblings of the soul may be heard. This is why hermits seek vastness and seclusion, deep in the desert or high in the mountains, far and away from psychic energy of others. The hermit moves outside of her cave. Once her relationship to mystery is cultivated, she lets her inner light of knowledge and guidance lead the way so that others may do the same for themselves. The hermit's cave, like a dark forest or the underworld, reflects hidden knowledge and a journey. Her cloak and hood express protection. The glowing lamp is a beacon for others to follow. Historic markings inside the cave reflect the active work of the hermit. She is not passive in her exploration of her inner and outer landscapes, but alive, observant, and completely aware. Silence, space, thought, sequester, meditation, curiosity, questioning, removing yourself from the noise of everyday life, inner knowledge cultivated by personal investigation, acute listening to the universe inside of you, sharing wisdom with others, leading by example. Okay? And that's what you're doing here, Scorpio. It's like you're leading by example because you are the example. You are like, I am living, breathing proof that you are applying these meditations and these meanings to you in your life, and you are following the direction and the path that you are meant to follow. And it's bringing you closer to yourself. It's bringing you more understanding and awareness of yourself and where you want to go. I also feel like it kind of serves as like almost like this hermit energy is like showing you that like you are doing what you are supposed to be doing right now. Like you're following these signs that you're meant to go down this path and experience these new findings and these new truths to yourself. Okay, you're unlocking the truth, you're unlocking the blueprint, you're opening the compass, and you're plotting out where you're gonna go. Okay, um, yeah, hiding from the outer world, social anxiety, sticking one's head in the sand, the inability to express oneself to the outer world, losing your grip on reality, thinking you are a master with nothing left to learn, spiritual snobbery. Yeah. I don't think you're like a spiritual like snob, okay, Scorpio. I think you're more of like someone who's like always wants to know more. Like you always want to learn more. There's something more. Like you don't want to you're not one of those people that like ghost people, you know? Like I feel like or you're not one of those people that like just like doesn't feel like I don't know, you have so much empathy here. And I just feel like that's what's like also is your strength too. It's like your heart. It's like you have like such fierce loyalty and courage. You just like say how you feel and what you mean and what your intentions are, and you do it in a way that's like you're not acting like you know better than someone else or you know more than somebody else. You're just like being yourself. And I feel like, yeah, we all have that shadow. We all have that ego. So sometimes that's going to happen. Sometimes that's going to come out, and sometimes it's going to like maybe make you feel bad a little bit. Don't let, even when you show your ego side, like there's a much more hidden depth to you that I feel like that's why you have like the death and the hangman, because I feel like you're going through something very transformational in your life. If you haven't already felt it, it is aligning for you. And I think that's where you draw the deepest meanings and the deepest connections, is when you allow people into your life to witness your transformation, and you don't do it in a way where you're like, oh, like, look at me, I'm like so much better. Like, you're, we're all the same. Remember the Fool card, we're all on the journey together. Okay. um yeah. Okay, Scorpio. So that's my message for you. Love and light always. Thank you so much for watching. Take care now. Bye.